All right. Welcome back to the shop. This is Crash Repair Volume number 2. So we're gonna go through repairing a nose of high voltage number 11, which unfortunately had a bird strike yesterday. Um, so what we do is kind of just put all the pieces together. I got the mount set up, cleaned off on the mount. Next, we're gonna do is we're gonna set up the alignment jig. We're gonna put the plane back in the jig, and we're gonna realign it, and then install the motor mount. So let's just move this out of the way from. All right. So I'll have it repaired today on this session. Just wait for some glue to dry. I think before I start the refinishing of the repair, I'm probably going to fly it first just to make sure everything's back in alignment and I'm happy with it. And, so I'm getting my alignment jig set up here. Okay. Well, what we'll do. Kind of go off this edge a little bit and then square it up just to try and get started to be somewhat. Okay. All right. What we got to do is we got to take the back half off. I'm not taking the elevators off, and the stab I can just measure the height of it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this back in the jig. All right, so what I want to do is I'm gonna put some balsa here just to protect it. Usually I got a couple pieces of scrap pieces I can use. This is really just to protect the painted surfaces. I really don't want to damage them. Okay. So table. Let me go back a little. Go back. Okay. Boy, it'd be nice to have a bigger shop. Maybe the next house. Alright, should I carefully put it down to not damage it anymore? Good. Easier said than done, eh? Nah, we want to edit out the good stuff here. It's not really critical important. I just like to somewhat square them up on the table. So, all right, let's try this again. So I need a bigger shot. So we'll do is carefully just leave it in here. That way. I don't. Nah, what a chance to that. Right on a hinge pocket. Let's see if we can do this. Okay. I gotta narrow up the mount a little bit. So we're going to set up our incidence meter. Pretty close. Get locked in. So just as a sanity check, what we'll do. Sanity. I can go up just a hair. So come down, actually. It's a little bit. All right. 0. Right. This is meter reading 0. We're going to double check a couple things here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We're in half. We're in half. All right. Let's see, how's that? Okay. So what I did was I got it in the jig, and now it is sitting at 0 incidence. Stab is 0 incidence. Wing is 0 incidence. Knowing how I align this plane should be straightforward. That means, therefore, this mount is going to be 0 incidence, which it kind of lines right up perfectly anyway. Is what I would expect. So now using this piece here, what we're going to do is going to go in like this. And we're going to align ourselves here like this. We'll dry fit this thing in. Probably what I'm going to do, we're going to dry fit it in first. Make sure we get it exactly how we want it. And then we'll bolt it up to see how it lines up. And I mean, I guess the good news is, or somewhat good news, is that if I line up all the paint marks, I'm in good position like that. See, that's right in there. And see that that's so now this is exactly 90 degrees to the table. I've checked it multiple times. Check it again. We're square. So what you want to do is make sure there's no gap anywhere. Oh, it's not. Make sure the bottom is clean. So really important to make sure you're on a nice clean surface here. So what I get is I gotta bend it a little bit. What we're gonna do is we'll put a shim under it. Just get a piece of like 1/64th. And that should get us perfect. All right, I'll just put a piece of 1/64th. I'll use that. All right, so I got a piece of 1/64th ply. That I'll use as the shim. I should be able to get it just a bit perfect too. All right, what I did, if you look here, this is a piece of 4x4 angle iron. It's got a 1/8 slot in it. Okay. It's got a slot in on both sides. What is it? It's got some countersunk 440 bolts, and I have locking up on top of it. And what I'll do is I'll just tighten it down. If it spins, you just put a. Oh, that's fine. All right, let's see how we did here. And what you're doing is looking for daylight through it. And nothing. Right. And if anything, you'd want the bottom to be open a little so you could just the slight bit of downgrowth, but it's spot on now. All right, well, that's good. Should have shimmed the trick. And what we're going to do is we're just going to bolt it here. And once we get it in place, we can hold the epoxy glue on. What we'll do is we'll just hold it right in place like so. And we'll check all our measurements, put a straight edge on here, go to there, to there. All right, so not bad. All right, we're going to get some epoxy. I'm going to use 420. I'm going to use this 3M Scotch-Weld 420. It's made to bound fine fiberglass, carbon, you name it. Steel. I'll just get a pair of gloves. A couple paper towels just in case. Again, what we want to do is just check the alignment. Yep. So we're gonna glue this in place. We're gonna set the motor in my place. Once it's all done, we'll work on the cosmetic stuff. But what I will do is I'm gonna squeeze this all together, and I'm gonna mix up some epoxy. 30 minutes. Mix up some epoxy, and we'll drip it in there. We'll take a heat gun and let it over, and then we'll just tape this together so it holds together. But I really want to get this set first. And then we'll add some fiberglass later on this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this stuff where you can definitely see. First thing we need to make sure it runs out of the tip good. Okay. And I'm just gonna put it. And we're gonna reinforce this with fiberglass when we're all done, just to really ensure we got it. I mean, the hope is that it doesn't gain any weight, but it may gain some weight. But you know what? All up in the nose is not the worst place to have. Yeah, ask me, it wouldn't be the worst place in the world to get weight. Now, kind of just open it up the crack a little bit. I'll set it up here. Once we get this in position, we'll clamp this mount down to the table. And what you want to do is make sure, in this case, it sits perfectly flush. You don't got to make that super tight. What we're going to do. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clamp a straight edge on here. Now what we'll do, 22 and 3/16. And what I'll do is hold a piece of Scotch tape in there just to keep it from flexing so much. This will be clamped to the table. So I got a C clamp here I'm going to use on the end of the table just to hold it down. 22 and 1/8. 2. I'll make sure your straight edge is straight. Even though if I can't really use it that way, that would be best, but I can't. I'm trying to think of something else I can do with it. Yeah, here we go. Even better. You just want to lightly clamp this on. Like 2.5. 22 3/8. 22 2/8. 7/16. 3/8. One. That's good. That's what I wanted. Okay. Now what I want to do is just tape this connection a little bit better. Fit up pretty nice right now. Okay, we'll let that dry for a little bit. Just double check it one more time here. The 16th. Right, so you want it to be that way so that you always have the prop pulling to the outside of the circle. Free line tension. I like about a 16th of an inch difference, about 12 inches of, from a 12-inch fan. And let's check that. So that's good. And what I'm pretty happy about is the actual where the checkers all line up. They all line right up. So I know I got it really, really close. So it's very close. So we should be good. Um, yeah. So all right. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna babysit this for a little while. We'll wait for the glue to dry. Kind of just been babysitting this, watching it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a drop of CA in one of the cracks to kind of get it all lined up. And then I gotta let it dry for about an hour. So I'll be back with another tape, maybe tonight, if not tomorrow. But just showing the rest of this and more of the cosmetic. But what I will do is I will leave this in this jig definitely overnight. And when I run the epoxy in here, it'll certainly be sitting there like that. So this gap is really tight. So I'm going to use some thin CA on this gap here to kind of close it in. I'll be able to make the repair from the inside there as well. But first things first, I need some CA. All right, so I'm out of thin CA. So what I got to do is fill it up. Definitely going to glue my fingers together here. All right, so what we'll do is take some thin CA out of the big bottle and into the big bottle. What I found by using these bigger bottles is that the CA stays a little fresher because you'll seal it, put it in the fridge or the freezer too. But I usually go through at least one of these building season, if not two. Get tips. And I recommend you buy like hundreds of these CA tips. You can get them on Amazon or any one of them. So just wrap a piece of masking tape around this joint, just as a little insurance, because I am working over the top of the painted flame. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the checker. All I'm doing is just opening the crack a little bit. What I'll do is I'll squeeze it wherever I can. Okay, it's all tight together now. So what I'm gonna do is just no, wait till it comes dry. All we do is just drip a little CA in there. All right, so now we're just gonna let that sit and dry, probably a couple hours to make sure. But we will come by and check it every once in a while, just to make sure nothing's shifting, changing. Good. So this is volume 2 of Crash Repairs of High Voltage number 11. Just a couple things. The paint repair does not look terrible. What I'm gonna do is I'll tape off I'll tape off the areas I don't want to get. And I'll work sanding all this in. It really looks like it's only black and white, and then some clear. So we'll work through it. If I have to reshoot some green, I will. There was a spot I wanted to fix. I got a bubble back here, which I'll work on, and up here there's a little somebody put a fingernail in it already. So I will fix those spots, I think. And then what I'll do is I'll shoot the black, and I'll touch up whatever green is gonna be touched up, and then I'll clear just the turtle deck, and then I'll clear like the nose where the probably where the black goes around. I'll tape it off. And I'll clear all that depending on where it is. And it should bury the clear line a little bit, which is helpful. But yeah, so not much to it other than, and what's important is get the plane back in alignment. Could have probably eyeballed it, maybe, but you saw how long it really took me to set this up. I mean, this tape's only about 45 minutes long, and it really only took about 30 minutes to get the jig set up and any other jig. So the key is having jigs to build stuff off of will help you make sure your alignment's perfect. Especially when making repairs, you can put stuff back to where it belongs. Flat surface, table, but a very flat surface is another key. And again, having some type of jigging that you hold at cradle, however you hold the plane in position. All right, so thanks for watching, and if you like it, tell your friends, like, subscribe. Thank you.